Good day, my friends. This is Archbishop Antonio Ledesma of the Archdiocese of Cagayan de Oro. I am glad to share with you the core values in promoting natural family planning that we follow as our pastoral guidelines in the Archdiocese. Oftentimes we are asked, why do you promote natural family planning? So this session will try to answer the why of natural family planning. But first of all, let us start with the background that in the past years, there has been a lot of controversy among the dioceses and the local church about the reproductive health bill. All of us say no to the RH bill because of its focus on contraceptives. But oftentimes you're asked also, what is our yes? And we say yes to all natural family planning. In fact, the poster that we have here now is what we use in Cagayan de Oro. Ihigugma mo ba ang imong pamilya? Do you love your family? And below we have the 6 methods of NFP that are modern and scientific and used today by many couples. So we start with the pastoral situation. What are the 3 felt needs of couples that our priests have understood in their interviews with couples? The first one is they want to plan their families regarding family size and spacing of births. Secondly, they also prefer natural family planning if given adequate information on fertility awareness and NFP methods. And third, they also want to choose among NFP methods to suit their own circumstances and preference. So it is in this slide that as we look at the overall picture of family planning, we find first of all that the use of modern contraceptives is roughly about 36% among Filipino couples today. On the other hand, the use of traditional methods, which are not reliable, are about 12%, but modern NFP is less than 1% in terms of use. On the other hand, the challenge is that no methods at all would be about 51.1%. So it is in this light that we say that natural family planning can actually be useful for many couples. And in this sense also, we say that our 4 pastoral guidelines now, we have first of all, our first principle is that we are pro-life. We promote the dignity of human life from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death. Our goal is responsible parenthood, not population control. And responsible parenthood in terms of procreation and education of children. The means that we promote then is natural family planning. And these are the 6 methods: the basal body temperature, Billings ovulation, symptothermal, lactational amenorrhea or breastfeeding, standard days method, and the 2-day method. Our 4th core value and pastoral guideline is that we want to help couples adopt an informed and morally responsible choice. Again, here in the context of a pluralistic society, we recognize that it is the couple ultimately who makes that informed and morally responsible choice. So let us go back to look at these guidelines. The first one was we are pro-life. We are for the dignity of human life because first, the human person is created in the image of God. In fact, the psalmist would say, "It was you who created my being, knit me together in my mother's womb. I thank you for the wonder of my being, for the wonders of all your creation." Secondly, the human person is created by God in unity of body and soul. So it is in that light that we are also for the dignity of the human body. Thirdly, the human person is open to transcendence. He is open to the infinite and to all created beings. Fourth, the human person is endowed with a moral conscience that enables him to recognize the truth concerning good and evil. This is a diagram of what we mean by the dignity of the human person in terms of his naturally born faculty of reason. He is born to know the truth, and the supernatural end is truth with a capital T. With his free will, he is born to love what is good and beautiful. And for his supernatural end, it is really what we call the highest good, or the summum bonum. In terms of the faculty of conscience, he is given the faculty to understand and to know what is morally good. And he is born for the gift of beatitude. And even for the natural faculty of the body itself, it needs basic needs like health and long life, but ultimately, the person also strives for eternal life. So the dignity of the human person is based on these natural and supernatural ends. And this is why even Pope John Paul would say that when a child is born, he is born for eternity. Fifth, we say that the person is essentially a social and relational being. And finally, that the Christian view of the human person balances the mystery of sin with the universality of salvation in Jesus Christ. So it is in this sense, my friends, that we are pro-life. We are for the dignity of every human person. The second core value we share is we are for responsible parenthood as the goal of our program. And here again, we understand responsible parenthood from the Second Plenary Council of the Philippines, and I quote, "Christian parents must exercise responsible parenthood while nurturing a generous attitude towards bringing new human life into the world. They should strive to beget only those children whom they can raise up in a truly human and Christian way. Towards this end, they need to plan their families according to the moral norms taught by the Church." The role of the Christian family and the dignity of the Christian and human family is the reason why we are for responsible parenthood. First, the role of forming a community of persons. An intimate community of life and love is the description of the family, where there is equal dignity of parents, children, and the elderly. It is sometimes called a school of deeper humanity. This is really from Familiaris Consortio, the apostolic exhortation of Pope John Paul II on the dignity of the Christian family. The second task of the Christian family is to serve life, to transmit by procreation the divine image from person to person. Conjugal love itself is seen as fully human, exclusive, and open to new life. And the family itself is seen as the first school of social living. The third role of the Christian family is to participate in the development of society. And it is sometimes called the first school of the social virtues, where the children learn about justice, about truth, and fair play. The family plays a social and political role, and it is in the family that the children and members of the family live out the values of truth, justice, freedom, and love. Fourthly, the role of the Christian family is to share in the life and mission of the church. And here again, the family is called the domestic church. It is the most basic of basic ecclesial communities. Christian marriage is seen as a profession of faith. It is a sacrament. And it is in the family that we discover the image of God in every brother and sister. So the dignity of the human family is why we are for responsible parenthood. Parents themselves should be responsible in determining the number of their children. The third core value and pastoral guideline we follow is that we are therefore, as a means, promoting natural family planning. What is NFP? Well, NFP is sometimes described as an approach for regulating births by identifying the fertile and infertile periods of a woman's cycle. As an educational process, there are 4 elements. First, it involves the observation of a naturally occurring body sign or signs, like body temperature or cervical mucus, or even the blood itself, in order to identify the woman's fertile and infertile periods. It involves the timing of intercourse and in order to avoid or achieve pregnancy. So NFP is also for achieving pregnancy. It's not only to avoid pregnancy. NFP methods are described as fertility awareness-based methods, as classified by the World Health Organization. In contrast to the use of artificial contraceptives, NFP means no DIDO, that is, no drugs, no injections, no devices or operations at any time. It also means no withdrawal. All of these are considered not natural. We are also asked sometimes to explain why we use the term all NFP in our program. Well, there are 4 implications to this. First, we include all modern NFP methods, both the earlier known ones and the more recent simplified methods. Secondly, and in that sense, we include the following methods that I mentioned earlier to you, from basal body temperature to the 2-day method. Secondly, we also say we want to reach out to all chapel communities and households. So all NFP is not only for those in the center or in the poblacion, but we want to reach out to all our capilla communities. We also want to promote NFP all the way without backup contraceptives. And finally, we say we should involve all family-oriented lay organizations, including government itself, in promoting natural family planning. Here is a picture of one of our family life workers teaching the standard days method, one of the more recent simplified method of natural family planning to a couple. So why natural family planning? Well, there are several reasons. Let me just recount a few. First, normal intercourse is preserved. Couples can plan the size of their families and space births the natural way. Secondly, NFP is morally acceptable to people of all religions. It does not separate the love-giving and life-giving dimensions of the Marriage Act. In the Archdiocese, we have had some pilot programs for NFP for Muslim communities, Protestant communities, and also the indigenous people communities. And all of them have also shown their appreciation for NFP methods. A third reason why we promote NFP is modern NFP methods are actually effective and reliable. They are based on scientific evidence, and simplified methods are easy to learn. The fourth reason is there are no inherent health risks in NFP methods, unlike the use of contraceptives. In many of our seminars, our family life workers tell me that this is actually one of the foremost reasons why women shift to NFP, because they have expressed their own problems with health risks in the use of contraceptives. A fifth reason is NFP is actually pro-poor. Once the method has been learned, there is no cost involved. It empowers couples not to rely on health centers or drugstores. Another reason is NFP is sustainable across generations. Mothers can readily pass on the practice of NFP to their daughters. Also, NFP enhances communication between spouses and promotes a wholesome family life. NFP couples actually seldom or never end up in separation or divorce or resort to abortion. This is borne out in comparative studies in the United States between couples adopting contraceptives and NFP using couples. Another reason is NFP can actually be used, as we said, to avoid or achieve pregnancy. So in some instances, we have already cases where couples have been helped to achieve pregnancy. This is a picture of how I gave to then Pope Benedict the 16th our book and manual. On the table is the manual we follow for teaching seminars for NFP counselors. And in a sense, when I told Pope Benedict that we were also using simplified methods, his answer was direct. He said, yes, simplified methods are good for simple people. So the fourth core value and pastoral guideline we follow is we are for enabling couples to make an informed and morally responsible choice according to the dictates of a right conscience. First, we talk of three kinds of freedom. Every person has ontological freedom from his human nature. He is born free to make his own decisions and even to say no to the Creator. Secondly, we talk about civic and political freedoms that our government offers to us. Some governments do not give a freedom of religion or freedom of elections, whereas many democratic governments, including our own, include these freedoms. But the third kind of freedom that we would like to promote is really authentic freedom. This means the freedom of the individual person to follow what his conscience tells him he should do. So it is authentic freedom according to one's own human nature. In this sense, even Vatican II, in the decree on Gaudium et Spes, tells us that man has in his heart a law inscribed by God. His dignity lies in observing this law, and by it he will be judged. By conscience, in a wonderful way, that law is made known. So the role of the church is first to counteract ignorance and sinful habits, and also to present and describe the objective norms of morality. And in this sense, to make every person aware that it is only with full knowledge and full consent that they fall into sin. On the other hand, responsible parenting, we want the factors to be considered, such as the good of children, present and future. The parent should also talk and be mindful of the material and spiritual situation of their family. And finally, the good of the family itself, the wider society, and the church. It is in this sense that Vatican II tells us it is the married couple themselves who must, in the last analysis, arrive at these judgments before God. So what is the local church's role? Well, first we say the church should provide information on all NFP methods as a pastoral imperative. We are very strong in saying no to contraceptives. We must also be very strong in promoting all available NFP methods today. Secondly, for us, proclamation is more effective rather than just denunciation. We cannot say no all the time, but we can always proclaim and say yes to all NFP. And thirdly, we should always promote family planning with charity, compassion, and the intent of formation of conscience. This perhaps is a diagram that tells us that we are reminded again of the three felt needs of couples, that they want to plan their families, they want to choose methods, and they also want to adopt natural family planning. On the other hand, the government's program has been to promote all kinds of family planning methods, mostly and in fact focus more on contraceptives. And the church's advocacy has always been no to the government program. But on the other hand, I think we need to strengthen our all NFP program. The dotted arrow means that it has been not a very strong program so far. And this is where we invite all family-oriented organizations, including government itself, to promote also natural family planning as our response to the needs of couples today. So perhaps you can end with a statement of a family life worker. The more we promote natural family planning, the sooner contraceptives will die a natural death. Thank you for your attention. About 12 minutes, 15 minutes? How many?
Hindi po.
You